Good evening, everyone. I would like to reconvene the Thursday, February 8th meeting of the Lake Forest Board of Education. You would all join me for Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, welcome to everyone who has joined us in the room, as well as those who have joined us online. Just a reminder that we are streaming tonight's meeting across the internet. And a copy of that recording, as well as the minutes, will be posted once they are approved. We are start tonight with 2.3 roll call of board members. Dr. Wyatt.
Present.
Mrs. McCluskey.
Here.
Mrs. Starkey.
Here.
Vice President Rao. Here. And President Earl Dempsey serving as chair as president as well. All 5 board members are here tonight. Thank you all for joining. We're up to 2.4 approval of agenda, Mr. Rao.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Item 2.5, approval of minutes. I make a motion we approve the meeting minutes from the January 25th meeting as written.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we're up to the fun part of the evening, 2.6 recognition presentations. We have a full house, which means we have several of these positive things. Turn it over to Dr. Loops.
Good evening, everybody. I think we got Mr. Weller here to introduce some of our award recipients. So let me check and see if he's ready. You can come on in and tell us who.
Welcome, everybody. I'm here for the Fire Prevention Awards tonight. For those who are not familiar with the awards, every fire company selects a winner in the local competition. Of course, our fire companies are Harrington, Frederica, and Felton. The winners from those fire companies then go on to the county level. All the fire companies from Milford to Smyrna compete in the Kent County Fire Department. Those winners then go on to the state level, and we have a state champion. So I'm here tonight to talk about the county winners and our state finalists. So first off, we're gonna have, for kindergarten, our let me see, 3rd place at the county was Emerson Gannon. Come on, Emerson. First place is not here tonight. The first place from East was Amelia Ecton, and then she went on to the state level where she placed 3rd. In 1st grade, our 3rd place winner from North was Ava Kennard. Once again, our 1st place winner is not here, but that was Juliana Sparkling from East, and she also placed 3rd place at state. In 2nd grade, we had 3rd place from East, Penelope Bray. And our 1st place is not here tonight. That she was from North, Riley Price. Riley went on to the state and placed 2nd. Okay, for 3rd grade, none of our winners are here, but I still want to announce them. We had Castleton Westfall from East got 3rd, Robin Willett from South got 2nd, and Ava Wink from North got 1st, and she went on to get 2nd at state. And although it's not the first occurrence, I'm still going to bring it up because it's awesome every year. But to go to the county championship for the posters and have 9 out of 12 schools be Lake Forest schools is pretty awesome. So I just need to congratulate them for that, but they were not alone. We had a 4th grade winner who's not here, Adeline Miller, from Central, who got 3rd place at the county. And for 7th grade, we do have Uriah Parker Jr. here from WT Chipman. He got 2nd place at the county. And I also have Adriana Smith here from Chipman, and she is not here tonight, but she also placed at the county. So congratulations to those winners. Great job.
So congratulations to the winners. Good work. It's really nice. Again, what I say every year for this is, thank you for keeping all the parents safe with everything you learned during fire prevention. And thank you, Mr. Weller and our teachers for embracing this each and every year. Thank you. Good work. One more?
Yeah, we do. Just wanna make sure. Next, we have, is Mary here? Oh, sorry, you're hiding behind Travis.
Hi.
Ms. Moschel, come on out. The Lake Forest Community Education Foundation has some presentations for us next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much for allowing us to do our annual presentation for the awards. We also wanted to give you an update and just the highlights of the Gobble Wobble. Of course, the Gobble Wobble helps to fund the grant awards that we give out. So this year, we exceeded our attendance by 2%, which I thought was, we're happy just to have over 400 people come, which is amazing for our small community. We are one of the largest races in Kent County now, which is pretty cool too. Of those, we had almost 35% as students, and which is very exciting as well. There's a lot of students that participate. And we had quite a few attendees from Lake Forest. Almost half of or over half of the attendees were from our community. So we thank you for those that come out. We really appreciate it. It costs a lot of money to do this, just so you know, and there's the stats on our attendance. So most of them are from Delaware. Farthest away this year was Illinois. We've had in Florida, we've had, Michigan, but Illinois was our farthest attendees. Income, our breakdown in income, we have to generate a lot of money to run a race. We had 18 sponsors to help us with that, which most of them have come back every year, which we're excited about. And then we had about 48 Beat the Turkey prizes, and that's one of the highlights of the event. If anybody's a runner, they don't usually get anything if they don't place. You actually have a chance to win some prizes even if you don't place. And we did have 2 teams from Lake that sort of competed with each other in registration. And the folks from South they usually bring in lots of participants, and they get competitive, and they brought in over 25 team members from their school. So we thought that was pretty cool. We couldn't do it without our volunteers. Some folks that I like to recognize, besides some individuals that come and join us every year, is a team that we have from the University of Del State, the Hornets. I'm gonna get them wrong. What was their first name? Hold on a second. Hornets in Motion. And then we also have the WT Chipman Junior Honor Society, and they both groups do a great job. And again, we couldn't do it without them. We also have a Girl Scout troop that helps us as well. So we've generated you can see a little over $9,000 It's about what we generate every year. It was a little higher this year, which we were happy with as well. I've always have a goal. Each year we have goals, but we're getting close to the 10 mark, which is always, when we talk about it, we always try to reach that if we can. But we're happy that we generated $9,000 this year. Any questions about the gobble wobble? Except don't forget next year or this year, 2024.
Great work. Congratulations on a successful event.
Thank you. And now for the grants.
So with this money, we have a grant application process where our teachers and staff can apply. And every year for many years, we've been giving out thousands of dollars back to our teachers and staff so they can enrich our children in Lake Forest in some manner. So tonight we have over $10,000 in grants to give out, and we would ask for your help. With those who are receiving grants, give us some pictures. We saw some today and yesterday from the Thai guys on Facebook. So we love those. We can use those on our website too. And it's great to see where some of the grant money goes. And the other way that all of you can help is sign up for that Gobble Wobble next year. Pass on the information, get people to come along. It's going to be November 24th this year on a Sunday as usual. And we're very excited to get that going. So without any other ado, let's go ahead and give away some money. Our first recipients are Brent Carter, Stephen West, and Kristen Cookman from W.T. Chipman. And they're receiving $1,000 for a trip to Washington, D.C. And we've got Mr. Milner here to pick up their check. The grant is going to defray costs for the 5th grade class to go to the museums in the Capitol. And this is the first trip for this group since before COVID. So they're very excited about that. Thank you.
And we want to take a picture.
The next is another trip. It's going to be for Celeste Landon and the Lake Forest High School. They're receiving $1,000 for the trip to Italy. The students will take a 10-day trip to experience the Italian culture from Rome, Sicily, touring the ancient Roman and Greek architectural sites, Vatican City, Mount Etna, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and we're happy to help this year. Yeah. Another trip, we've got Kathy Vogt from Lake Forest High School, who will be receiving $1,000 towards their trip to France. The grant provides funding for transportation to and from Philadelphia Airport. Students in French 3 and 4 classes will have the opportunity to immerse themselves in the language and French culture. Congratulations. Again, we have now Keisha Boehner from W.T. Chipman, who is receiving a $224.84 grant for Readers as Leaders. It's a small classroom library that's going to be created with the funds with the goal to foster the love of reading. The library allows students to borrow reading materials, and funds will also be used to purchase bags and craft materials for holiday and summer reading bags for the students and their parents to be engaged in. Congratulations. Next, we have Mary Ann Quinn from East Elementary School. She's receiving $997.85 for getting to know people and cultures around the world. This project will expose students to various cultures and their classmates and increase understanding and compassion of various cultures, books, games, art projects with the goal of East Elementary students becoming knowledgeable global citizens. Our projects will be on display at the annual art show, Curriculum Night at East. And we look forward to seeing those. Another grant now goes to Megan Hicks from South Elementary School for $989.79 for Cozy Cubes. The goal of the project is to provide a safe, calming space for students with special needs and specific learning styles through the use of cozy cubes, mindful maze boards, sensory mats, and a variety of fidget supplies. South. We've got Dr.
She's not here
Hooper.
tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Hooper. Now we have Thomas Garrett, Caleb Tribbett, and Kevin Campbell from Central Elementary School receiving $1,000 for Thai Guys. The grant will provide or has provided funding to purchase clothing for those who participate in the Tie Guys program. The goal of this project is to instill essential life skills, values, and character traits that will guide these students toward becoming responsible and respectful individuals, fostering leadership qualities by teaching effective communication, teamwork, and decision-making skills is also an aim for this project. And the guys look great on that video. We have now Gina Baumgartner from district, it's a district-wide project, and she is receiving $973.90 for bedtime story time. The main goal of this project is to offer families with fun and positive experience for all students in the district. Teacher Academy students receive hands-on experience working with younger students, and elementary students will interact with the high school staff and students in exploring fairy tales. Each family will receive a take-home project to make and share on the district Facebook page. Very exciting. Next, we have Nancy Nairlin Pisano from W.T. Chipman, who's receiving $1,000 and for graffiti name painting. This project will support independent, collaborative, and experimental learning through engagement and ownership. All seventh graders will study the art of key pairing. They will discuss symbolism, font, sketching, and plan and create a graffiti name art piece on canvas. The goal is to incorporate principles of design and creating in creative lettering and learn the differences between legal and inappropriate graffiti. Now we have Stacy Zaire from Central Elementary School. Stacy's receiving $942.90 for the Flyleaf decodable book set, Ready Series 3, which we've granted to other teachers in the past, and it's really a great project. The goal of the project is for students to use decodable text to help improve their phonological awareness, oral reading fluency, and reading comprehension. The decodable books will allow students who are below grade level to receive quality interventions, reinforce phonic patterns, and increase phonological awareness and oral reading fluency. Congratulations. And the last one of the evening is Stephanie Ball from South Elementary School, who's receiving $985.79 for the PBIS, sorry, old school here, I forgot about the I, PBIS Rec Game Room. The funds from this grant will purchase games and activities as part of the PBIS program. Students will earn time and use the games and activities, and the staff can use the room to encourage positive social skills and peer interaction. So for this year, that is all of our winners for winter of 2024. We look forward to getting the input from the evaluation forms that are in your envelope as well, so we can make our grants even more successful in the future. And we'd love to hear about how they're working in the classroom and how your kids enjoy them. So we look forward to hearing back from you guys, and congratulations. And Mary Ann Quinn has something here.
Yes, that's, we wanted to present this because from a grant we had a couple years ago, the students wrote thank you notes to you. And then we also have pictures in the.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have a picture, but we are going to take pictures.
Down this one.
Oh, you want to stand?
Yeah. Everybody down.
Thank you, everyone.
Mrs. Boschall has one more thing she
One
said.
more thing, please. We give out T-shirts at our Gobble Wobble, and Dr. Wyatt actually wasn't able to make it, but we had enough this year to give out to all of our board members. Welcome. Thanks so much. Thank you. Oh, and Dr. Lucas came, so he had already received his Wobble shirt. So, thank you so much.
So I will say, thank you to, the Lake Forest Community Education Foundation, right? Mrs. Boschall, Mrs. Swenson, Mrs. Sharp, for everything that you guys do for our district. Specifically, the Gobble Wobble, I know it goes a lot further than that, but the result is what we saw tonight with our teachers and our programs. And I also want to say thank you to our staff for, number one, being interested in going after this money that is being raised for these projects, and for coming up with such great initiatives for our students. So thank you all very much. Now you may all escape. Goodness knows Mrs. Hitchens would like as small an audience as possible. All right, we are up to 2.7, citizens participation. Opportunity for members of the public to address the board. We open it up for public comment prior to or at the beginning of each board meeting. If you were interested in signing up, we did ask you to do so, or in speaking, we did ask you to do so in person, to sign up at the front table and to present the sheet to the superintendent's office. Mrs. Simpson, we do not have anyone signed up this evening, so we will close public comment. We will reopen it again prior to our next meeting. With that said, we're on to section 3 reports. We'll start with item 3.1, Special Olympics, Mrs. Heather Hitchens. Welcome, Mrs. Hitchens.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me tonight. As the district Special Olympic Coordinator, which is new, I just want to say thank you to the district and to the board for recognizing the importance in inclusion. So I am Heather Hitchens and I am your Special Olympics Coordinator for the district. In 2018, we started Special Olympics at Central with our basketball program. It was small. And over the last 6 years, I am happy to say that the program is now at all of our schools at some capacity, which is great. We're going to keep that momentum moving, and we'd like to see all of our schools participating at a higher level. Currently, we're working on getting DEC involved because research showed that the younger that you involve students with inclusion, the greater those impacts are going to be lasting. So right now, we're trying to get our younger athletes involved in that as well. It's just really important. So our next slide, Mr. Morgan, is our mission. Our mission is to allow students in our district the opportunity to flourish within their abilities, showcasing who they are as a person. Special Olympics, you hear all the time, is just about, basketball or soccer, but it's really not. It's about who that student is. And it's an opportunity for these students to get out and show their abilities as opposed to their disabilities. So that is our purpose. It's inclusion is not just a student. It's not a classroom. It's not a school, but it's a belief that all of our students, regardless of their labels, should be members of our community. And that is our mission as Special Olympics. So you'll hear that title, and the program is very near and dear to my heart, but more so because of what it stands for. It stands for inclusion. It stands for our kids to have the opportunity to be recognized for who they are. So a quick story. A few years ago, we had a student that came through Central, and I asked him, hey, do you want to participate in Special Olympics? He said, no. What? Are you serious? Like, what are you talking about? I don't want to be showcased for my disability. I don't want people making fun of me. I don't want people talking about what I can't do. And then I went right back to myself and I said, I failed. I failed because that is not what we're about. We are about showcasing who he is, not what he can't do. So I had to rethink and figure out, and I went to him and I said, how can I help you show everyone else who you really are as a person? Because that's what's important. And we figured it out, and come the spring, when we did soccer, he was the first one there. And he was proud of who he was. And it just brought together a community that we're not showcasing what these students' disabilities are or the labels, we're showcasing them as a person, and we're carrying that out in the community. So that is just really near and dear to my heart. So how do we do that, Mr. Mormon? Slide 4. Yeah, I got you. Our opportunities, we have sport. We have the opportunity, we used to do basketball, it's not so much anymore, it's soccer and bocce. We have our Spread the Word Day. That's a super fun day. It's a nationwide day where our schools across the nation pledge to show respect for everyone. It's one of my favorite days. We make it big. We have Inclusion Week where all of our schools can participate in different ways to showcase ways to be inclusive. We have our fundraisers, our leadership clubs, our Spartan Buddies. And then in March, we actually have the opportunity to go to WBOC and showcase what inclusion looks like at Lake. And I'm super proud of that. But I also want to go back to our leadership club and our Spartan Buddies. Special Olympics talks about kids with disabilities, but the other part of that is the peer partners. And you know, our FFA and our OM, those things focus on one thing, but one thing that Special Olympics does is it can focus on all of our students, every single one of them. It can focus on our kids with disabilities and our kids without. And those peer partners, those volunteers, they will build relationships that you can't teach in a classroom, that you can't teach on a soccer field. It is incredible. And I look around and I see so many parents of kids that I've had your peer partners as peer partners in the program. Teaching empathy is hard. So congratulations to each one of your parents that you have had a student participate as a volunteer, because empathy is just not what we see every day. Respect is not what we see every day, but those students are truly what's going to shape our future. So those peer partners, those high school volunteers, those middle school volunteers are just as important as our students with disabilities, because that's how we combine as a community to be a whole. And those kids are going to go out in our Lake Forest community one day, and they're going to change the world, showcasing and being proud of who they are. So that's how we do it. Next slide, Mr. Mormon. Director John Busby is the director of Special Olympics. He's been doing this for a long time. He's a wonderful man, and he could not be here tonight. He supports Lake 100%. So he sent a few quotes. I won't read them to you, but he sent a few quotes, and his philosophy is that when you have passionate staff members and you have a passionate board and you have a passionate district, you can accomplish anything. And I'm telling you guys, we can do this. We can make our district one of the best inclusive districts around, where our students are going to change the culture that they go out and see. So I think this is a quote in the next slide. Mr. Mormon's another quote from Director Busby. And this one just talks about the activities and opportunities to experience inclusion, because learning it is through practical experiences, right? It's through real life. It's not something you can do in 4 walls. So I just appreciate Mr. Busby for those. Next slide. This was an Over the Edge recording. You guys feel free to watch it. It's a brief clip of last year's Over the Edge where Mr. Busby just talked about the influence that Lake has had as a whole. And I just thought that was really neat to include. So the next few slides, I believe, were just some pictures. Oh, we don't have to listen to it, no. I just put it, it's be on there for them to listen to later, right? Okay, next slide. So this is just a Spread the Word Day, showcasing some of the things that we did. It's just pictures. The kids take a pledge to show respect for all. We play games at Central, have the animals over. Kids love animals. Next slide. Our bocce tournament, every district in the state of Delaware now has their own bocce tournament. We actually, Lake Forest Central was able to earn the Commitment to Inclusion banner last year. That was just some of our bocce days. Basketball, that's the year we started. It was a great year. Thank you. Over the Edge. So Over the Edge takes a little bit of my heart. Over the Edge is a fundraiser that raises money for Special Olympics Delaware. When you sign up to participate in Special Olympics, you have to do fundraisers, because they then support you. They send you grants, they take care of your kids that you're participating in. So Over the Edge, we also did the plunge. That's a terrible one, guys. It's really cold. We do it, but the Over the Edge is my favorite. Mr. Warren loves the plunge. It's a terrible idea. Over the Edge is my heart. Let me tell you why I love Over the Edge. Yes, you see 11 staff members over the edge, but what you don't see is the opportunity that fundraiser allows our students to see. Every day, working in a C setting or a B setting or an A setting, working with a student, we ask them to do hard things. We ask them to push themselves, to challenge themselves. And we can never show them that back, but this we can. And if you watched me, you know I'm not graceful. I'm not good. It's super hard. I get my hair stuck. I get stuck in the wall. It's all kinds of terrible, guys. But when I get back to school the next day, I can tell those kids I did hard things. You know what? So can you. And I'm gonna do it again this year. And I'm gonna wear a hairnet, so just pray for me. But we can do hard things. And it allows us the ability to relate for those kids to see us go out and do something hard. And then we come back and challenge them. And what's really cool about Over the Edge is that it's live. So the kids can see it. And when we come back to school, they are so proud and so just full of excitement for their staff members, their administrators, their speech pathologists, whoever it is, they're so proud. And it's not a kid with disability. It's not a kid. It's just a school. The community is proud. So I love Over the Edge because it gives us that opportunity to build those relationships with our students and do hard things. I had a student who she didn't want to do anything. And I told her, I said, look, you saw me last year Over the Edge. I got stuck at the top of the building, right? It took me forever to get off. I'm going to do it this year, but I'm going to get off that building. She's like, no, you won't. I said, if you do this for me, when I get up to that building, guys, it stinks. I was on the top of the building and I said, I gotta get off of this kid, but I did it. And then when I got back, she said, you did that for me. Yes, because you're gonna do this for me. You did it for me and I'm gonna do it for you. So this year, we'll see if I can get off the building, get a little bit faster and not get my hair stuck. So pray for us, but that's why Over the Edge is important to me as a community because it just brings us all together as a whole. And so that's one of my favorite fundraisers for Special Olympics. That's it, guys. That's a wrap for me. Thank you for having me. Mr. Dempsey's probably gonna have questions because he knows I don't like talking. Thank you, guys.
Not questions as much as the observations. So, you know, Ms. Hitchens, thank you for everything that you do. I mean, you know, I think, you know, this is one that I have definitely supported within our district. Dr. Lucas, Dr. Wyatt and I got to attend a luncheon, a Special Olympics luncheon. When was that? December, November?
Champions Luncheon.
Yes.
Coming up again.
And we just got an invite again, and it's so great to hear our district talked about in such a positive manner. Do we have a date for Over the Edge this year?
May 9th, who's in?
I
Dr. Lee?
hear that Mr. Rao is available, and I also don't believe he'll have an issue getting his hair stuck. So count him in for your 12th this year. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other board members?
My only comment is it's clear that we have the right person on that job because the passion just exudes. So thanks for what you're doing.
You notice he did not turn down the nomination, so.
You did not.
He did not.
All right, got it. That, yeah, I was gonna do cry in the face.
Oh, goodness. Moving on. Thank you again. Sticking in reports, we have 3.2 financial reports. Mr. Kirk Kellerman. Welcome,
All right.
Mr. Kellerman.
Well, I apologize, but back to the mundane. So we have the financial board report as of the end of January, which just concluded about a week ago. So our numbers now reflect what was approved in the last meeting, the last board meeting for the final adjusted budget. And on the top, we really don't have any significant changes in the state revenues received. However, what you will notice, if you really pay attention to some of the percentages there, is the percentage of state funds received will actually be, it actually went down compared to the last report because that's when we increased that budget number, that makes the percent received go down. So just a little catch there. Small changes in local funds and no changes really in federal funds other than adding that school improvement category at the bottom, which wasn't in the preliminary budget. So overall, we're at 96% of our discretionary funds received compared to 96% last year, so about the same. And that's now annotated at the bottom of the report. And then also we have we're at about 90% for all funds received compared to 89% last year. So any questions on the revenue side?
Questions for Mr. Kellerman on the revenue report?
Okay, moving on to the expenditures. We have that tuition payment special school. That's that in-district high roads classroom we have at North Elementary. That budget got increased, so we're no longer showing over budget on that category as we did last month. Division 3 local salaries has 11 out of the 26 pays remaining for the school year, which Right now it shows 45%, but that would be more like a 41, 42%. So what that is that's that added, those extra funds we added for what DEC earned for their Division 2 and Division 3. So that's why that number has a little bit extra budget remaining compared to where we would typically be. So as we progress through the next few months, that number will come down in terms of and come closer to like the number of pays we have remaining. Tuition payments reflects our second half payment, so we will conclude the year pretty much with what we have there as the remaining amount of budget unspent. And contracted instructional staff, that's a new category there. It is showing 0 expenses right now because we were able to leverage some unspent CARES funds last year. That we had about 20,000 for expenses that we had, so that's why we're showing 0 there right now. As we move on to page 2, I assume there's no questions on page 1, or, okay. So on page 2, with the schools, I fully expect Chipman and East to fully spend out their budgets this year. Some of these schools kind of go in cycles where they'll have a lot of budget remaining at the end of the year, and then maybe the next couple of years, they'll spend out their entire budget. So, I met with Chipman earlier this week, so they've definitely identified several areas that need attention, and I fully expect them to spend out their entire budget this year. The secondary schools just finished spending out last year's Division 2 vocational. So down in that non-discretionary section for Division 2 vocational spending, you'll start to see those numbers. Right now, it pretty much shows 100% of the budget remaining, but that's because we were spending last year's money up until now. And then the last thing I wanted to discuss was minor capital improvement funds. And so this continues to be kind of the area of greatest need for the district. If there's ever a place that I would want to, bang my drum that we need the most funding is minor capital improvement. These are 3-year funds when we get them from the state and we match them. So this is the 60-40 match that we have with the state. We will provide the 40% match. And you can see there, if you were to talk to Carl, he would like to have at least a year's worth of funding in reserve for any kind of, things that pop up throughout the year. And as you can see, we're down to a little under 2/3 of what we have just for this year. So, and that's also taking into account last year, we received that additional funding from the state, the 380,000 of enhanced MCI funds. So had we not had that, I mean, technically we could be out of money this year if we didn't have that enhanced MCI funding. So
if I can ask a question there, if I remember correctly, in order to even obtain that enhanced MCI, we had to spend out
yes,
our balance.
yep,
So
that's exactly
we
right.
may not have necessarily done that in a normal year.
True,
We had to last year to get that fund.
true statement. Yep.
Thank you.
So what I will say though is about the MCI is in the governor's recommended budget for this year. I know in the past years, it's been hard to get additional funding there. The last 2 or 3 years, we've been at that 15 million mark for the entire state for all school districts for MCI. And so in the governor's recommended budget this year, they did increase that by 20% up to 18 million. So that's good news. As long as that can stay in the budget and get passed through the legislature. So I'm hopeful that change will stay in the budget. We are at 44% of our discretionary budget remaining compared to 41% last year, and grand total all funds budget remaining is 48% compared to 49% last year. So any questions on the financial report?
Questions, discussion for Mr. Kellerman and financial report? All right, thank you, Mr. Kellerman.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to 3.3 superintendent report. Dr. Lewis.
Thank you, President Dempsey. Good evening, Spartan family. We'll start tonight by recognizing and congratulating our school counselors. This week is National School Counseling Week, where we take some time to focus attention on the many contributions of school counselors within public education. Here in Lake Forest, we have 12 school counselors assigned to our schools, and we have several other certified school counselors filling roles to support mental health in the district. So thanks to them, we can't do what we do without them. I'd also like to congratulate all of our second marking period honor roll recipients. I was able to attend several award ceremonies last week, and it's great to see so many students being celebrated for their hard work and academic achievement. We also had our first ever National Elementary Honor Society induction Tuesday night at Central Elementary School. 50 students were inducted, and we look forward to the great things they'll be doing as a part of the National Honor Society. We got someone from Central here. There she is. Congratulations to those students and their families. February is a short month with a couple of more interruptions remaining. Unfortunately, students are out of school this Monday, February 12th, for parent-teacher conferences. And then the district is closed Monday, February 19th for President's Day. February 23rd is the interim point for the third marking period. It's coming right up on us quickly. And don't forget, our big event to celebrate Black history is also on February 23rd at the high school. It's truly one of the best events of the year. I look forward to seeing everybody there. Dinner starts at 5 and then the festivities at 6. You won't want to miss it. That's all I have. I thank you. Yield the floor back to President Dempsey for any questions or discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas. Questions or discussion for Dr. Lucas and the superintendent report? So if I can maybe put her on the spot, Mrs. Marquis. So last night was a fantastic event. Dr. White and I were able to attend the National Honor Society induction. Would you maybe tell us a little bit about everyone publicly, what went on, what we did for the first time, number of students, that type of thing?
Sure. So we looked at, we pulled the grade distribution from the district to see how many students were applicable for that award. We sent home an application to the students. They had to fill out their academics, get their teacher approval, any community service, and their behavior. So all three of those areas were predominant in that selection process. Our advisor, Ms. Johnson, has spent numerous hours planning it. And we had 50 inductees into the National Elementary Honor Society. And next year, we did it for 5th grade this year just to try it. So next year, we wanted up 4th graders as well. We had a great turnout, about 160 parents. So thank you both for coming.
Yeah, congratulations. It was really nice to see those students and I forget how Dr. White put it, but they all look sharp. I mean, they were there for a reason and they knew it. So it was fantastic. Thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Lucas. We're up to section 5, discussion items, 5.1, the 2024 to 2024, excuse me, 2025 school year draft calendar. This is a discussion item. We will begin with administration.
Good evening, everybody. It is once again that time to begin looking forward to our next school year. The first step in that process does involve taking a look at the instructional calendar for the 24-25 school year. We began this process by bringing together a group of teachers in collaboration with LFEA, building representatives. We had teacher representatives from all schools, as many grade levels as possible, a nice balanced representation, including paraprofessionals. We had a school secretary on the, or not a school secretary, but a district office secretary serving on that committee as well to provide some input. And that first meeting was held on January the 9th. At that meeting, we presented some information, some kind of ground level information, such as what some of the minimum requirements are when we consider our instructional calendar. So the first is the number of days that teachers are required to work by state code, which is 188 days. So regardless of how many student days there are built into our calendar, our teachers are still required to work that minimum 188 days. In addition to that, our student hours for all students that are in grades K through 11, they are required by Title 14 to attend a minimum of 1,060 hours, which equates to 163 days. And our seniors are required to attend a minimum of 1,032 hours, which is equivalent to 159 student days. So taking a look into those considerations, we are entering a school year that is a little unique in the sense that we not only have a national election, which helps contribute to what we call No School November. So we do have another day in November that we must close for that purpose. But we also have both winter holidays occurring on Wednesdays, which are in the middle of the week. So in taking a look at all of those factors, we really worked hard to try to build a calendar that was very similar to what we have this year. What you'll see on the presented draft is that We are recommending starting school, students starting school after Labor Day, which has been very popular with our community the past couple of years since we have transitioned to that. The calendar, the way the annual calendar sets up allows us to still do that without going too deeply into the month of June. Again, we have a primary election day, which is September 10th. We are required by state law to close school for students, but we will utilize that as a professional development day. The state of Delaware has also made that what they refer to as the statewide professional development day, where they offer statewide opportunities that staff members can take advantage of for professional development. That day is normally in October, but because of the primary day being required to close for students, DOE did agree to maximize that time for that statewide service day. So with that said, we created the draft, we pushed it out to our staff. We opened up a survey to district-wide on January the 12th, and we kept it open for 20 calendar days, so it did close on February the 1st. We did have 98 responses, a nice balance among the majority of our schools. We also had a nice balance of employee groups respond. While teachers did make up a little bit more than half of the responses, we did receive responses from all other employee groups as well. Two of the questions that we talked about, the committee wanted to kind of get feedback from the staff just in regards to the start date, whether it's before or after Labor Day. We did have 80% of those respondents indicate that they would prefer having students start after Labor Day. And then we talked a little bit about some of the options for the holiday break. Close to 90%, 89.7% of the respondents indicated that they would like to see the full 2-week break in the winter holiday season. So with that said, a draft copy is attached, and we most certainly will open the floor. We did have a second meeting just this past Tuesday with the committee where we reviewed the survey responses. We may had some discussions, and really the only significant change is the shift in meet and greets versus transition day. Historically, Lake Forest has had both of those events occurring on the same day. With the addition of kindergarten to transition day last year, a lot of our staff members in the committee indicated that they felt parents believed strongly that a meet and greet opportunity can sometimes conflict with the transition day opportunities. And so giving everyone the chance, all the students and parents the chance on a separate day to come in for meet and greet can help build a little bit rapport. But when those kids in those transition grades come back the next day, so you will see those events separated out on our draft calendar presented for you tonight. As you mentioned, Mr. Dempsey, this is a discussion item. So our purpose is to release this draft to the public along with a public survey. We will treat this similar to our policies, where we'll give the public 30 days to provide any feedback that they wish to provide, and we will give that access to that feedback from both the staff and our public community members to the board before requesting the board to vote on a final calendar in next month, in March. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mormon. Questions, discussion from the board regarding the draft calendar presentation?
One.
Mr.
On
Rowland.
this one, the President's Day, is that chosen by the staff? That's not a state holiday.
It's actually listed on the Department of Labor as a Delaware state holiday.
It is. I checked the website, I didn't think it was.
Well, maybe there's a difference in the state offices are closed.
Yeah, no, actually, I thought I looked at the DOL site. I thought that like 2014 was when they stopped recognizing that. But that's fine. I was curious if that.
I'll double check on that. Absolutely. So we do treat Columbus Day as like a floating exchange day. So we do not close for Columbus Day. However, we do exchange that holiday for our 12-month employees, and usually takes place on Christmas Eve. If the governor by chance comes out the last second, like he usually does, and indicates and closes state offices for Christmas Eve, then we shift that 12-month Columbus Day exchange to Easter Monday, the Monday after Easter Sunday, and close the district for 12-month employees at that point. That is the only exchange or floating holiday that we utilize right now.
It's not on.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mr. Morgan referenced Department of Labor. You're referring to the same thing that I would be referring to, the State Department of Human Resources, and it's not a state holiday. Offices are closed. I'm sorry, offices are open. So, but yes, and I did, that did come up because it was mentioned recently about closed for the state holiday when everybody else is open.
Right.
But state offices, I don't know about school districts, so. But, okay.
We'll get clarification on that.
Just to make sure I heard right, so I see 170.5 for student days, and the requirement's 163.
Yes, sir.
So then the deduction there is there's 7.5 days, snow days built in.
Yes, sir.
Snow, fog.
Correct.
Inclement, well,
Comparison to date so far this year, the same number of student hours, same number of student days, we've used almost 2.5 days now in fog and snow, with fog and snow.
All right, thank you. Anything further from the board? All right, well, thank you for everybody who put effort into preparing this to this point, the committee, as well as all the staff that provided feedback. So I heard that this will go out potentially tomorrow.
If not tomorrow, no later than Monday.
Okay, so it'll go out to the public. It'll be go out to normal meetings to our student stakeholder groups, parents and such. 30 days. Feedback, and you anticipate this being back in front of the board the
The second meeting in March.
second meeting in March.
22nd.
just one other question.
Mr. Rao.
So did I also hear right that you said roughly 85 or 80% of staff are in favor of starting after Labor Day?
It was about 80.
It's just interesting because when I first was on the board, we were starting before. And it seemed to be that the argument was the staff did not want that and parents were, staff were not. So it's interesting to see how we actually go to it and then they realize that they do prefer it. So
And I think at that time, districts were trending that way, and I believe that has been reversed. I think.
Some of us are starting to go back before Labor Day again. Correct.
Wasn't it supposed to be,
Mr. McCoskey.
wasn't it supposed to be a statewide thing that they had pushed where they wanted all districts to go back after?
never passed legislature, but they tried.
Yeah, they tried.
It was
So, but,
sponsored by legislators in Sussex because of the beach towns and
Right.
wanted to have kids there to work through the
so
rest of
it,
the summer.
they're not pushing that anymore.
Not to my knowledge.
Haven't heard about it in a while.
Just one more question.
Mr. Starkey.
Last year was the first year that we did like the 10 days of in-service or 9 days of in-service. Was that last?
I
year or
believe
2 years?
it was the second.
Second year.
So this year was the second year. Last year was the first
And
year.
that still seems to be favorable.
I mean, we definitely get mixed feedback on that. There are some staff members that feel as though that might be a little too much time. What we have done though is we have committed to splitting that time evenly with preparing the learning environment and providing professional development. So we didn't just take those days and just pump them full of professional development. We recognize that teachers do need time to get into their classrooms. We do recognize that we have to have some of that time to do non-academic trainings, curriculum-based trainings. And that a lot of times that takes teachers out of the classroom. Teachers feel that need to be prepared for when the students come in. And so we most certainly wanted to provide them with a little extra time to do that as well. It's been very beneficial the past couple of years with new curriculum being adopted. So we were able to front load a lot of time to prepare teachers with that. So we really work hard to try to make those days meaningful for our educators.
All right, any further thoughts, discussions, questions from the board? All right, thank you again.
Yes, sir.
So that was not an action item this evening. We are up to some action items. We need to start section 8. Mr. Rapp.
Section 8 personnel, position approval. I'll make a motion we approve resolution 8.1 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Questions or discussion on the motion? So if I could, Dr. Lucas, could you give the board and those in the room and the public a little background on this?
Sure can. Could we show the 5-year trend with East? So for the last 5 years, as you can see, we're up to 340 students. We've earned 26.5 units at East Elementary School. And we've combined that with an initiative that we started last year where we're transitioning all of our multi-language learner assets from K-3 out to East Elementary School. So given those two variables, we really feel like the need to get an additional administrator out there to provide oversight, provide support to the programs that are new to that school, as well as to support that increased population. We anticipate this being a trend, an upward trend. In other words, we don't see East going back down below the 25 units that supports an additional administrator in the building. So we really ask the board support in adding another administrator out there to give that team some support and oversight with the new programs we've got going here.
All right, thank you, sir. Questions or discussion for Dr. Lucas? So I do have one that you just triggered. So when we were looking at the trend, the thing that I had forgotten about was the English language learners. So this growth that we're seeing, so those students are reflected in these numbers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you happen to have any idea this growth we're seeing, how much of it is through normal organic growth and how much of it is through this targeted growth with this population being moved there?
It's not a significant amount of growth yet because a number of those students, and I don't know what the exact number is, decided to stay in their home school. They didn't want to go out to East, but we anticipate that as kids come into the system, that they're gonna wanna go with their peers.
Okay.
So it's not significant yet, but it'll definitely grow.
So then we do expect that a lot of the growth we're seeing is just that organic growth
Yes.
within the
Yes.
confines of the
Yeah.
East District.
And we've also earned a lot more additional units because of special education. And that, as you know, intense and complex students, require a lot of support and a lot of administrative support as well. So we've not only seen a rise in the students, but also in the intense and complex, and we really need the help there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anything further for Dr. Lucas? Any further discussion on the motion to approve as written? All right, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 9, personnel resignations. I make a motion we approve resolutions 9.1 through 9.5 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 10, personnel retirements. I make a motion we approve resolution 10.1 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 12, personnel transfers. I make a motion we approve resolution 12.1 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 14, personnel offers of employment. I make a motion we approve resolution 14.1 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 16, personnel leaves of absence. I make a motion we approve resolution 16.1 through 16.3 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Staying in section 16, personnel leaves of absence. I make a motion we approve resolution 16.4 as written.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
No. Any abstentions? Motion fails 0-5.
Section 19, personnel appointments. I make a motion we approve resolution 19.1 as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on that motion? So I have one. I will just say that I will be voting against this motion simply because there is an individual listed who is a former employee, and I do not agree with hiring that employee back based upon the conditions under which they left. So With that said, I just wanted to explain my, my no vote here. With that said, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Any abstentions? Motion carries 4-1.
Section 21, other business. I make a motion we approve resolution 21.1, school choice as written.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Staying in section 21, other business, I make a motion to approve resolution 21.2, the 2024-2025 school year draft calendar as presented.
Second.
That motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
And closing out section 21, other business, I make approve resolution 21.3, bid acceptance, Lake Forest High School as written.
Second.
Excuse me. Have a motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
Section 22, other business field trips. I make a motion we approve resolution 22.1, field trip to Washington DC by high school as written.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor properly seconded. Questions or discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0.
And finally, section 23, other business financial reports. I make a motion to approve resolution 23.1, the board monthly financial report as presented this evening.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor properly seconded. Questions or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Rao. Thank you, Mrs. Stark. And we're up to section 25, board report discussion items, 25.1, good of the order. Opportunity for board members to address any topics not covered otherwise on the agenda. Board members, the floor is open. All right, I did just have one, and it's that time of year. I try to bring it up at every meeting. It is school board election time. We do have a pending school board election coming up, as every district in the state does. Those interested in filing to run for school board, to volunteer time for Lake Forest, the filing deadline is always the first Friday of March, which this year is Friday, March 1st. And then those who file will have an election held the second Tuesday of May, which this year is not May 3rd, must be May 10th. Yeah, okay, that's it. I forgot the one. So Tuesday, May 13th, will be the election. So far this year, we do have 2 candidates that have filed since our last meeting. And I'll read them in order from the Delaware Department of Elections website. First, we have David Walter Mazur, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name. Mr. Mazur is from Frederica. And we have Mrs. Sarah R. Starkey, who is from Felton. So we still have a few more weeks for those interested, again, to volunteer their time to do ever important duty in your community, giving back to your school district. If you're interested, please go to the Delaware Department of Elections website or on site in Kent County to make sure that you file. Again, I do like to mention as well that this is not a district managed event. As with any elections in the state, all of these state school board elections are run by the State Department of Elections. As we get closer, I will continue to remind, once we reach the filing deadline, we'll continue to announce candidates as well as start to announce the polling places and polling times. That way we make sure the information is out there in every way possible. That is all I have. Anyone has anything else? Oh, Mr. Rao. How could I forget?
Yeah, so my useless knowledge / interesting things or things that make you think, something to part with as you head out tonight. If you are in Detroit, Michigan, and you drive due south, you will end up in Canada.
Wow,
Windsor, Ontario, to be exact.
not always the great north.
You go south to get to Canada if you're in Detroit.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Rao, as always. We appreciate it.
Actually, I had to look it up on a map. There's where you actually go south to get to Canada. from Detroit. Or if you drive south, you will end up in Canada. Just something that's kind of.
Thank you, sir. All right, I do not believe we have a need for executive session. Dr. Lucas?
No, sir.
Mr. Mormon?
Sir.
Any board member?
Yes.
With that said, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved.
Second.
A motion on the floor properly seconded. Any questions or discussion? We'll just mention that our next board meeting is 2 weeks from this evening, Thursday, February 22nd, 7 p.m. We will be taking our first road trip of the year, and we will be at Lake Forest North Elementary, 7 p.m., probably in the gymnasium. I look forward to seeing you all there. Nothing further. We have a motion on the floor for adjournment. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. The board is adjourned at 8:08 p.m. Thank you all very much. Drive safely.